Hi there, my name is Maximov. I am CEO and co-founder of Precious Payload, a software that lets you plan and execute a space mission without leaving your home or office environment. And today I wanted to share a small video regarding the webinar that I participated in as a panelist last week. It was organized by Crypto Labs and UAE Space Agency. And there I was asked an interesting question that made me really think about it. And it was about the lessons learned from working on a space startup in the space industry. And so I've been around the industry since early 2016, so it's been a while, and we just scratched the surface. Obviously, we are quite successful, but it's a very long journey. So I really have a lot of things to explain to someone who is thinking of building their career in the space industry or thinking of an idea for a startup in the space industry. So I have 8 main lessons learned that I wanted to share today, and I've start with the number 1. Don't think that an idea for a space startup should come first. I see a lot of people who struggle with, I have this crazy idea about asteroid mining or some innovative camera system or IT, and it's really hard when they just Google or they watch some video or they essentially trying to come up with the idea fast and then try to develop their company and product from the idea, and then they go and try to pitch it to someone, right? So I think I will only concentrate on the differences between what's so special about the space industry, what makes it different from any other industry where you would like to create a startup. And I think the difference here is that you shouldn't come with the idea first. I think you should first get traction and network and insights about the industry from within, what it's like to build a product in the space industry, what are the main struggles there, and then the idea will come up to you. That's number 1. Number 2, focus on your network. Remember, space industry is if you put it in a certain framework, then it's a B2B environment. It's defense and government and military, and it's passion driven. It is a Vanity Fair, right? And it's always about network. It's about who you know and where you've been and how credible you are and what are your connections, right? And that's where, of course, this industry relies on events. And again, I think one of the key insights here was that the amount of people you have to know in order to be successful in the space industry is not that big. It's about hundreds, maybe 800 to 2,000 people that are decision makers in this industry, right? And even if you want to build a product that leverages space domain but delivers it to another segment of people, you have to know this people from the space industry, and you have to be credible for them to be able to leverage their technology and their domain, basically, right? And of course, it's hard to build the network in the absence of offline events these days, but just a few ideas where to start is the SEDS, the Society of Students in Space Exploration, if I'm not mistaken, SGAC, the Space Generation, of course the ISU, International Space University, and your favorite space podcast. There are a few of them who which do have actual audience of real space engineers and decision makers from space industry, and there are actually plenty of them. And all of these podcasts and this communities do have their Discord channels and Slack communities. So it's really great way to start building your network even in the current circumstances. And of course, majority of this offline event organizers started the online webinars, where it's actually it's much easier to engage with the panelists and with the audience there than, especially if you are shy and introvert like me, I find it much easier to have this engagement with the speakers and panelists on the webinars, actually. So it's a really good place to start. Okay, number 3. This is a special one for me. The lessons learned or like the advice I would give to other space entrepreneurs is that don't come up with the project for a satellite just for the sake of building and launching a satellite. I know it's really cool, having worked, like if you can brag about, hey, like I've built a CubeSat, it's there. Just don't stop there, right? I think like the key insight here is that space industry is no different from any other industry. A startup is still a startup. So whatever lessons you learned from the books like the Lean Startup or 0 to 1 or the Mom Task, it actually applies here. It's again framework of B2B, traditional industry, and anything that you learn about startups is heavily applicable here. So unfortunately I can see a lot of companies that are stuck with, hey, like we are a space company, we've launched a CubeSat, like 1U, 2U, 3U, and it does pictures, and then we're trying to do something else, but we really don't have any insights or idea, or we don't have this mindset of problem, solution, pain point, customers. Just a lot of people are stuck there, and it's really miserable to be there, frankly speaking, because yes, you brag about the fact I work within the space industry, but I'm not actually moving anywhere, and I'm stuck in this limbo, and then I spend months and years trying to find the next grant or next investment to do another CubeSats, or and don't be there. That's the lessons learned, number 3. Okay, number 4, don't think that you can start a company from your bedroom. Like I can see a lot of people who are like Googling and then participate in this webinar saying, okay, I got it. I have this idea. I Googled it. No one has done it. It's really cool. I work with SpaceX. Let's do it, right? So don't do that. Again, think you have to have a network, and you have to have a startup mindset. So find the problem from within the network. Even if you are thinking about launching the satellites and then selling the imagery across the mining companies or agricultural companies, establish the network there first. Know how they're solving the problems today and what remains unsolved, right? So again, B2B environment, do not stay in your comfort zone, in your office or in a bedroom. Like go out there and talk to people, right? Number 5, so special one for me. Always try to lean on some governments, be it the government in your home country or in the other country, because governments love space companies. They love creating the jobs, and especially they absolutely admire the connection of space companies to defense domain, right? Governments like to spend money on defense and military applications, even in the current circumstances, even in the moments of crisis. So I think one of the key insights was that almost like 3/3 of all the startups in space industry do have some funding or grants or contracts from the government. So just know that and leverage that for your own advantage, because know that everyone does it. Maybe not everyone speaks about it, talks about it, but just think about that, because that's something I learned only after a couple of years in the space industry. Okay, number 6, leverage global talents. So the reality is that the space industry is extremely fragmented. So again, 800 to 1,500 people spread across different continents, different regulatory regimes, all these ITAR regulations. So do leverage all this global talent that is available for you, right? Especially, in this time of layoffs, there's a lot of talent available, and don't try to say, okay, I'm stuck in this country, wouldn't have really space engineers, wouldn't have space industry, I don't have like network of contractors. Try to quit that mindset. Try to understand that being a remote first organization is the right way to do that. Of course, you can say, okay, how are you going to build like hardware and satellites remotely, right? And you'll be right. Second aspect of this leverage global talent is utilize the university labs. Again, they are supported by the governments usually, and they give birth to dozens of hardware startups. So search for talents across the space labs in your favorite universities, right? Okay, lesson number 7 will be don't think that in order to start a space company, you have to be a space engineer or you have to be a technical person either. I've seen great examples of absolutely fantastic companies that are design agencies focused on new space companies and startups. I've seen legal companies and crypto companies and image processing companies and whatever, right? You don't have to be a space engineer or even an engineer yourself to be associated with space industry and work within space industry and work. If your dream is to be working with SpaceX and Blue Origin and the others, you can do that. Again, just focus on network first. Problems, existing solutions, unresolved problems, then find a solution, whatever it is for you, And okay, last but not least, number 8 is probably the biggest lesson learned. I knew that it's going to be that, but again, experiencing it is a different thing. You have to be really passionate about space in order to be successful in building career or company in space. It's not about like, hey, we have to be passion driven, do the thing that wakes you up in the morning and gets you out of bed. It's actually the fact that space is extremely slow. I've heard it from other people as well. Like you go to the reality of this industry is that you go to all these events and you listen to the pitches and you read the reports and you're thinking, wow, that's crazy. Like by the end of this year, we'll have all these beautiful systems, space stations, rockets, satellites, imagery, and people do that. They give you this fear of missing out in order to accelerate the things a little, right? The investments, the contracts, and everything. They want you to come back to your office and speak to your boss and say, we can't miss that boat. Like we have to do the same thing, otherwise our competitors will do that. And it tries to like push you a little bit. But reality is that it's extremely slow. Like whatever is promised to you by the company, multiply that by 2 or by 3 in terms of the timing. So what I'm trying to say is that prepare for if you're building a company and you think that, okay, like probably judging by tech industry, my exit is going to be in like 5-7-ish years. Here's going to be 9-10 years at least. So like really you have to be really passionate, because without the passion, you're going to quit. That's all I have for today. Thanks for watching.